Welcome to Drawing Conclusions.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Jessica.
That's right, you are.
And today we are talking about the live-action remake of the Disney classic animated film Dumbo, directed by Tim Burton.
Yes.
Jinx, buy me a Coke.
Okay. Yeah, this is starring Colin Farrell,
Danny
DeVito, Michael Keaton, other people.
Eva Green.
Green. Yep. Anyway, so Jessica, what did you think of this show? What were the things you liked?
Oh, well, so just to start off, I was really trying to keep an open mind about this movie because I have a lot of hesitation about these Disney live-action remakes in general. Right. And the original Dumbo is a very short animated movie, and it's very sweet, and it's got kind of a thin plot as it is.
Yeah, it's only like an hour long, thereabouts.
And so it's like, what are they going to do with this in a live-action version?
That's like 2 hours long.
Right, and so, but there were some things I liked about it.
Yeah.
I thought visually, for the most part, it was really good. I thought the CGI of the elephants was very nice.
Yep.
There was a lot of spectacle. There were beautiful costumes. There was some really nice cinematography. There was a great performance by Danny DeVito. I thought he was really charming in his role as Maximilian Medici. I really liked him.
Or Medici.
Yeah, Medici. There you go.
Either one.
And, I thought Colin Farrell, while there wasn't much to the role, I thought he did a nice job.
Yeah.
And it was really great seeing Dumbo fly. I thought those scenes were done really well. Mm-hmm. Every time that Dumbo was flying, I thought it was really nice to look at. Yeah. What did you like about this movie?
Well, I think I should probably just cut and paste everything you just said, because that's about everything that I liked about the show.
Anything I missed? Oh, what about some of the old...
I did like some of the old callbacks to the old animated feature.
Yeah.
And they were nice. I mean, I didn't like all of them, but I liked most of them.
Yeah.
Some of them did feel a little forced and kind of, shoehorned in a little bit.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. I guess we'll go into the things we didn't really care for about the show.
Yeah, why don't you start by telling us what you didn't like about it?
Well, I liked that I didn't like that the movie's called Dumbo, and Dumbo's not the main character. I really didn't care for the story. I thought the way they handled it was, it just seemed to meander from one character to the next, but never really to Dumbo. It's not really told through his eyes, his story, his life very much. He's just kind of a side character in his own show, it seems like.
More of a plot device, really, even than a character.
Right, and just instead of having in the cartoon they had Timothy the Mouse, who kind of conveyed what Dumbo was thinking and feeling and stuff to other characters. They didn't really have that person in this show.
Right.
It just kind of bounced from one person to the next. There wasn't really a focal point or focus to the show. And an overall message, like in the old one, there's, belief in yourself, overcoming your differences and your things that make you stand out or be an oddity to other people. Overcoming those things and embracing those things and learning that those things can be a strength. And having confidence in oneself. And, for instance, the magic feather. Which none of that was really addressed in any meaningful way in this show.
Right.
How about you?
Yeah, I just felt like it was a movie in search of a plot. It wasn't sure.
For sure.
It wasn't really sure who the main character was, who our main I mean, it's okay even if there are multiple protagonists, but we didn't know enough about any of them or know enough about what they were experiencing. There wasn't a character arc enough for any of them for us to really follow as the audience or get behind. The movie lacked a lot of heart, as we talked about.
I think Danny DeVito was the only one who actually had a character change in the entire show.
Well, I mean,
even his was very slight.
Everything was really slight. I mean, right. Colin Farrell as Holt Ferrier did change, but it wasn't his story. And
no.
I mean, there were changes, but it wasn't like there was nobody to get behind. There's nobody to root for. Dumbo, like we said, was not really the main character, not even one of the main characters, He was just kind of there to have the other characters interact with and learn from or something. I don't know. It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And one of the main performances in the film was really wooden, and it was the little girl that played Millie, the main.
Millie Ferrier.
Yeah, Millie Ferrier, who's Colin Farrell's daughter in the movie. She just was not good, and she wasn't likable. Her character wasn't likable. It was one of those performances where they're trying to have a child seem more like an adult than a child. Like she's, had to grow up fast and everything. But you never really feel a connection with her. You never really feel like you want to root for her either. And the performance was very wooden. And I don't know if that was direction or what, but.
Right.
And then there were, I don't know, I didn't feel like there was a unifying message or theme behind the entire show either, which again is because there isn't a unifying plot. There's not a protagonist to follow.
No, I think this is not great. And, in comparison and contrasting with the original cartoon, there's no heart in this show.
Yeah.
There's not much humor. I mean, there are parts that are kind of funny,
Yeah.
But overall, it misses the mark on all the things that made the classic cartoon great.
Yeah.
Heart and humor, I think, were in a story that drives the plot.
Yeah.
They just missed on all of it.
There were a few moments that I liked. I did like some of the ways that they incorporated the elements from the animated feature into it. They kick off with something that's iconic.
Right.
From the animated show, which was fun, and of course it puts its own twist on all of those elements, but I thought that those for the most part for me really worked, and they were a nice thing to have in the movie, but there just wasn't a good solid plot. There wasn't a nice story to follow to build all that stuff around.
Yeah, it just seemed to me, some of them were nice, like you say, but some of them to me just felt forced.
Yeah. And then what'd you think of Michael Keaton's villain character? And that's not a spoiler because it's obvious
from the trailers.
From the trailers and from the second you see him in the movie as well.
Yeah, there's no mystery. That was the other thing this movie's lacking. There's no mystery or surprise. Anyway, Michael Keaton, it seemed like they wrote him a big fat check and he's just like, well, phoning it in.
Yeah.
It's really one note. Everybody in the show was mostly really one note and flat.
Yeah, which is how
outside of Danny DeVito.
Which is how I feel like the characters were written.
Yeah.
And Michael Keaton was like chewing the scenery pretty much big time. It's pretty over the top in his performance. Yeah. And it was a villain who was very cartoonish, interestingly enough.
Snidely Whiplash.
Yeah, somebody that had no depth or dimension to him at all. You didn't really understand what his motivations were. You didn't really know anything about him except that he was this evil capitalist, who pandered
for some reason he was bad.
The reasons he were bad you saw on the show. He didn't care about other people. He was selfish. He was greedy. He didn't care about the animals. Blah 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 blah. But you don't know why he was bad.
Like I'm saying, there's really what is his motivation for being this way, and it's just like I'm this way because I'm this way. That's what it kind of seemed like. It's like okay.
Yeah. And there was no indication at any point in the movie that you were supposed to think that he was anything other
than a bad guy.
Like, even though the characters in the movie trusted him and followed him and everything.
Right. So why would you trust him?
Right. As the audience member, you're thinking, can't you guys tell? He might have had evil stamped on his forehead. You kind of were like, okay, stupid characters, why are you trusting this guy? He's clearly the bad guy.
Right.
So that was not well handled in this movie.
No.
Overall, what rating would you give this show, Josh?
I would give this movie a 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
2 peanuts! That's all you get.
Peanuts are good, though.
They are good, but you only get 2 of them. No more. You're cut off after that. Yeah, it was really mediocre. It really fell flat, and I think this is one of those, if you've been watching the Disney films lately with their retreads of classic material.
Yeah.
This one's definitely a miss. I haven't been a super huge fan of these retreads. I did like the Jungle Book. Cinderella I thought was okay. Everything else I really didn't care for.
Yeah.
I would just as soon watch the animated classic that they're all based off of.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't blame Disney for trying this. I mean, it's obviously been successful for them in terms of making money.
Yeah.
And maybe capturing a new audience. I'm sure there's lots of people who've never seen the original Dumbo that will go see this live action
Which is a shame.
Dumbo, right? And maybe only know Dumbo as like an attraction at Disneyland or something, you
I
know.
rode a ride with that elephant.
But
what would you give this one?
yeah, I would probably give this a 2.5 out of 5.
Okay.
It's not worth seeing in the theater for sure.
No.
Your kids might like it, probably will, especially the younger they are, the more they're likely, more likely they are to like it. It's fun to look at, and there are a couple of, really good performances. But overall, yeah, it lacks heart and any
Real
stories,
substance,
really.
yeah.
It's just like, I don't know what I was supposed to walk away with, and it's mostly, more than anything, just forgettable.
Yes.
Just a forgettable.
Which is a shame because the classic cartoon is a fun cartoon.
Yeah. So, Josh, tell us about this watercolor
Well,
that you did.
I wanted to pay tribute to the original Dumbo because it is far superior. Doing a pen and ink with brush not pen and ink.
Brush and ink.
Brush and ink. And then watercolor on top of that, trying to capture like some of the original colors, showing, just how fun and vibrant the character of Dumbo is in the original show.
Yeah.
And if you're going to watch one of the two, pick the old classic. It's still good.
All right, well, it's a nice picture.
Thank you.
Very sentimental.
Yes. Yes.
Thanks for joining us. That is it for us. What should they do now, Joshy?
Please subscribe if you like what we're doing. Subscribe, help us out. And
What else?
they should share this video.
Yeah, share it.
Like it.
Like it.
Comment.
Do it.
Do it. Also, check us out on Patreon. We do have a Patreon site where we do podcasts about our first reaction kind of things after leaving the movie called The Drive Home.
Yep.
And
some other movie talk on there, too.
Yeah, and some other movie talk on there as well. But support there really helps out the channel. So.
Yep. All right, thanks.
Thanks.